Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Raw Faith. I'm here with my man PDO Mr. Dog. Um, and today we're going to be talking about our community that we own called Elevate and just how we are aiming to scale and reach more people from this godly mission, empowering men to carry their cross that God has put on their own heart. So, we're going to be getting in the weeds of that today and just how we've seen God work within that. It's been an unreal ride since day one to now having a community of over 200 men, from Paden being a member to now being a owner. Yeah, lots to unpack, but we're going to dive into some juicy details today. Mr. Dog?
What up? What up? First thing we need to dive into is, what we're doing right now in the community and the lack thereof, really.
What we're not doing.
Yeah,
We are not eating for 2 days.
for sure.
Yeah,
This
so
is
we're
probably our
good.
third fast challenge in the community. It's definitely at least two.
Yeah, for sure. This is definitely the third. Yeah, right now we're on a 48-hour fast as a community, leaning into prayer, leaning into the word. I was actually just feeling some lunch, some sort of snack, and I was like, can't do it. So I ended up going outside on a walk and threw in a sermon in the ears from Justin Daly, pastor of Action Church, my guy down in Orlando. Man,
Nice.
he delivered some heat today in this sermon, so had me missing that church. But yeah, I mean, I was really feeling it. I was like, I could munch on a snack right now. Some fruit was sounding good.
Mm.
Anything was really sounding good, and I was like, nope, I'm gonna get outside. So got outside, got in a little sunshine, little word of God, and here we are. How about you? How you doing?
Feeling good, bro. After a copious amount of coffee that I've drank today, feeling really good.
That is the way, huh?
For sure,
Uh,
that and our daily bread. Sounds like you've
what
already got
what
that in.
hour are you on?
Let's see. I started at I don't know about 7:30 last night, so 18, 19 hours in, something like that.
Okay, I'm on now. I'm going on hour 21, so
Solid.
I've got about 27 left, of course. So yeah, we're doing good. But let's dive right in. Let's
Let's
dive
do it.
into our mission, elevate. And I think a lot of guys who are listening to this are going to hopefully just feel encouraged, empowered, motivated to carry their cross and start their mission. Starting something like this does not have clarity. It is not easy. Carrying your cross from God does not mean that you're going to float through this life. And we're about to get real around what that looks like. But let's let's start with just what this mission and what this vision of this mission is to you. Would love your perspective on what we currently are doing and what you see us doing in the future.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like you mentioned earlier, I joined this thing as a regular member, so just the growth that I've seen from being in a community of this caliber of men, and, everything that comes with it, the challenges, the events, just the people that you simply level up by being around and talking to every day. Um, you know, I want to give that back to as many people uh, as we possibly can now. Super passionate about it, for that reason. Um, and so, yeah, just as far as where I see it going, obviously you and I talk all the time about how we are going to reach the masses, how we are going to reach and impact millions of people, and just scale this thing to just such a massive brand
Yeah.
that goes beyond us, that outlives us. So, I mean, within that, we're going to touch on each of these, but I see apparel being a massive part of that, and reaching millions. Being as big as Nike, Under Armour, the names where you don't even know the CEOs, the owners of it.
Amen.
Um, I see our community in itself, you know, scaling to thousands of members, similar to a massive church, and just having tons of small groups for men to dive into, which I know we'll get into later as well. Um, but yeah, dude, just reaching the masses and having it outlive us.
Yeah, amen. I think something you mentioned that I really want to highlight is just the daily conversations because I don't think we're so involved with Elevate. We are in it every day, every waking hour. It's consuming a lot of our bandwidth of thoughts that we can often fail to realize just how vital the conversations are. And I think someone listening to this needs to hear this right now of just like, what conversations are you having with the people surrounding you? Are they conversations that are centered around growth? Are they conversations that are looking forward? Or are they conversations that are looking backward? Are they conversations that are just stagnant?
Hmm.
Are they surface level conversations that don't get you anywhere? And I think that in my life, I know I've experienced in the past a lot of those conversations, a lot of relationships centered on that stuff. And now, seeing Elevate with over 200 guys, being over 2 years in, I've had a lot of conversations about what guys want out of this life. Like I've connected with probably over 1,000 dudes at this point, and I don't just connect with anybody anywhere. It's guys with ambition, guys with a vision for their life. When I'm getting on these Twitter connections, so I've had a lot of conversations with high level guys who share this massive vision that they want to achieve with their life, and I just am really realizing in this moment right now the impact that has had on me to daily go into three, four, five, six of those conversations, be exposed to guys who are creating content around their vision, their business, whatever it is, the cross that they're carrying. So I just love that you
Yeah.
point to that because it's something so little, but I think it's something so big.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. The average conversation that you're going to get just going out talking to somebody or chatting with your friends is so surface level. And I mean, that's genuinely what makes us different. Even from the call that a new member gets on with me and then you after the kickoff call within the first week, like on both of those, we're asking some pretty in depth questions. Getting to the root of where they want to go. Where they've been, why they don't want to be there anymore. Just really breaking below that surface level, and actually having some high level conversations.
Yeah. And my favorite aspect about running this business is you have no choice but to go deep. It doesn't
Oh my
matter where
gosh.
you're at, what conversation you're having. Like I go to family get-togethers, and I'll see family, and they'll be like, "Oh, how's business?" And I'm like, "Well, you ready? Like, you ready to strap in for what I'm about
Yeah,
to share? Because like, this isn't just surface level. Like our mission has depth to it.
for
Everything that
sure.
we do every single day is about bringing people to God, growing and connecting men with other high level men. So it's even for an example. I went over to a Fourth of July party. Some people from church. It's just a small dinner party. Two people from church, a married couple. They invited Tawny and I over, and tell me about what you do. Tell me about how it got started. What's your story? And it's like better strap in because like
Yeah,
there's nothing but depth that's about to come from how this got started. So that's my favorite thing, man. It's definitely been a double edged sword, I will say though, because there's some times where it's like just sometimes I don't even want to get into it.
bro, 100%. I mean, even outside of the deep combos, it touches like really every area of life. It's like some days I don't want to run. They're like, oh gosh, gotta lead this thing. Deep
Yeah,
combos, faith. Sometimes I just want to sit on the couch and eat potato chips, man. But I know I got 150 men in the community just waiting for my post about training that day.
100%, man. It's crazy to see something else, and then we'll kind of get into the tangibles. I imagine, but something else that's had a change in my perspective recently is just considering the generational wake of our impact.
Mm,
And I say our impact, I'm really talking about how God is working through us in this. But we're leading men, and I truly believe heal the man, heal the family, change the man, change the family, whatever you want to say.
hmm
And I just have seen that and thought about that recently that we can't conceptualize, we can't understand right now just how changing one man's life can impact generations and lineages and thousands just from one last name. can come from that. So I've just been trying to consider, and we really can't consider at all, just the ripple effect that this mission is going to have throughout millions of people overall by helping millions of men in our lifetime.
Hmm. Yeah. Why do you think that is? Like, what do you think is the biggest thing that's affecting and changing men that are in there right now, and then will lead to changing their family line?
Yeah, I genuinely believe that Ed Milet talks about being the one often.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of generational curses, let's say, and all it takes is one man, woman, whatever, one to come and change that. If everyone wants to blame their genetics, I mean, how many people in today's world will blame just it's hereditary? Oh, I'm fat, it's in my
Hmm.
genetics. Oh, I have heart disease, it's in my genetics. Oh, I'm an alcoholic. Well, the people before me, I just inherit this addictive personality.
Yeah.
It takes one, and I think when you can be surrounded in this lifetime by a community of men who are aiming to be the one, who are, I would say, quite literally being the one, you have
Hmm.
no choice but to be that one that Ed talks about. And I think it's a reprogramming of the truth. And I think when you reprogram the truth and you actually do the dirty work to heal that trauma that's being passed down, it doesn't get passed down to the generations below you where they don't have a victimhood mindset out of the womb. They
For
have a
sure.
victor's mindset of, look what my dad did, look what my grandpa did. I can't imagine being of the lineage of, say, someone like I don't know who's someone great that we can think of, like, let's just say Elon Musk, first
Yeah.
man to hit my mind. Like, if you are Elon Musk's son, you should have zero limiting beliefs when you enter this world. Look at what my dad accomplished.
For sure.
Like, maybe you'll have family trauma. I don't know anything about Elon outside of his business success. I'm really just speaking to that there. But you should have zero limiting beliefs in the way of business when you're brought into this world because you have an example that's set. Now, if we add God into that, again, I don't know where Elon stands personal beliefs, but if we develop a relationship with God, the security even passed down through our lineage that's going to come from that is just going to be unbelievable. That I think the people who come from us will look at our lives, look at our relationship with God, and say, I can do anything if I just walk with God. I truly believe that. So I know that was kind of
Amen.
roundabout, but
No, I love it. I think the biggest thing is like the victim mindset. You watch your parents, grandparents, people, older generations of your family, and that's what you set as normal, as like the standard. Um, and whether it be a curse or a blessing that they're passing down, like you do have responsibility to change that. Um, and don't look at them like it's their fault. It's Look at it like it's your fault completely. And we could go on and on about this. It's not our topic, but
for
we have
sure.
men in Elevate taking responsibility day in and day out of their actions, and it's beautiful to see.
Yeah. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, we've been given the choice, and we've been given everything we need to make this change and truly carry the cross and follow God. So, but yeah, let's get into this mission. We're both on the same page of how we're going to reach and impact millions. But let's get into like the tangibles of how we see that being done, of how we're living that out, in the day to day as well. And I think that's something you mentioned right off the bat was the apparel. I'm rocking our hat right now. Guess I'll spin it around for anybody
Yes.
watching this. Going backwards just solely for the lighting on my face for this. The bill just covers some light. But I got a shelf back here with a bunch of Elevate hoodies and tees and stuff that we're sending out to guys all over the world right now. We got Josh and Sean from Ireland about to be repping Germany, Tokyo. Hopefully, get Chad in from the Netherlands, Io from England, London, Jeremy taking it back to
Yep.
Australia, a ton of guys from Canada. Um, is there any like obviously non-American countries I'm missing here that we've sent some to?
I'm sure there may be one or two, but I mean, it's reaching the corners of the earth, dude.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that that's kind of how I see us. Outside of content, of course, we're going to continue to produce content just like this podcast, and sharing stories and testimonies on the internet. But the next layer down from content I see is this apparel, because
Yep,
this is a mission, this is a message that I truly believe millions can get behind and would get behind today if they just had it in front of them and got exposed to it. And so I truly believe that it is our moral obligation, our godly obligation to expose those millions to this
hmm
mission, to this message, and then watch the people who buy in and represent this brand and wear it on their back. Go watch them expose it to more millions and have those conversations and plant those seeds about faith and about God in those lives, and people who wouldn't support this mission today but just need someone personally to come to them, make that one-on-one connection, tell them they're loved, share their testimony, and open a door that wouldn't have been open before. So I see that kind of being the top layer of how we reach so many people is through a T-shirt, a hoodie, a hat, things like that.
for sure. Yeah, I mean, reaching them for the Elevate mission, of course, and also just to spread um, God's ultimate mission, spread the word of God. Um, I think it's incredible. Like even with the I don't know couple hundred pieces that we've sold so far. I was talking to one of our members the other day just about the impact that we've already had. Like I know for me personally, wearing the shirt in the airport, massive God is working on the back for anyone that hasn't seen him. Like just the thousands of people that have passed me and just
Mm.
seen the shirt. That's just one person, and how many people are repping it. Like it's incredible to think about. Um, yeah, it really is going to reach millions, and it's just sick gear too. Like I would, dude. I'm so pumped for future apparel drops. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's a passion project for both of us.
Yeah,
Um,
totally.
and I think too, like you never know what's going to be that sign for someone. You may be wearing this shirt, 100,000 people may see it, but there may be that one person that was curious about God, just had a big God moment happen in their life. Next
Yep.
thing you know, they're in the airport. They're sitting there waiting for their flight. Maybe they're on the 24-hour layover because their flight got canceled and they're
Mm,
just hating life. And they look up and they just see that sign as you're walking off, on the back of your shirt that just says God is working. And that was their sign that they needed to just push them over the edge to develop in their relationship with Jesus. Like, because you hear these testimonies of people who have these things that happen, and it's these little signs that kind of pop up, and they say, I just couldn't let these signs continue to be a coincidence. I just knew God was moving,
hmm
and again, a million people may see that shirt, but that one person doesn't know that. That one person sees that as a personal sign to them from God, just
Yep.
based on ourselves repping our faith boldly. We
Hundred
never know
percent.
that. It could have already happened. Could have happened 100 times. One time wearing a shirt to the airport, but I just think about that. Like you just never know when you're going to be that sign for someone when they're having a bad day or they're on the verge of following Christ, and they just so happen to get a text and then look up from that text and see that on the shirt, and something clicks. Something godly clicks in their mind.
So I'm so glad we put it so large on the back. It's like we're not called to just put a little cross or something like that on there. Like we're called to live it boldly, make sure
Yeah.
it plants roots in every area of our life, um, and that's going to make the change, man. The difference between a small cross and then a massive God is working on the back is going to be the difference in somebody's life. I guarantee it.
100%. And I think, it takes the men we have in this community, and it takes men outside of this community that we will have a part of this brand to be those leaders to step up and wear their faith boldly. It doesn't have to be our apparel, it can be whatever it is to you, but it takes leaders to step up and wear it boldly wherever it's at, to spread this mission and spread this message. But I think, yeah, as far as apparel, we're already reaching all corners of the earth, and I think that that's only going to expedite and grow. Um,
Yep.
but going another layer down, I think just what I see always being a part of what we do and being another thing that reaches millions is the online community. Um, so just speak to us about that, about what we're doing now, what you're seeing now, how you're seeing God work, and then we can dive into what we are seeing in the future with it.
Yeah, 100%. Um, like I mentioned earlier, with just this community, I mean, it will have thousands of members inside of it sooner rather than later. And with that scaling, we've already seen it go from in the beginning just a small group chat with one call per month to what it is now, over 150 members inside. Um, and with vulnerability being one of our main values or main core values inside of the community, like it does get a little more difficult to keep that a main value. Um,
Mm,
but to counteract that, what we're doing is creating smaller intentional groups for the men inside of the community, um, based on seasons of life, based on hobbies, struggles. We have an accountability chat in the community, for men struggling with pornography. That's been so impactful, uh,
yeah,
just based on the messages inside of it. But yeah, just creating those smaller corners of the community for men to come into, whether it be 10, 15, 20 men inside of that small group. So they can still get that vulnerability, share struggles when they need to, have the one on one connections with those men to help them grow, whatever that looks like. I really think that's one of the, that's what I'm looking forward to most.
yeah. So far, within the name of small groups, we have the fatherhood for all our dads, like you just said, accountability group for all our guys struggling with porn, alcohol, whatever it might be, weed. Um,
Yeah.
I know we just launched entrepreneurship, which I'm pumped about, having Josh and Sean lead that biweekly call to just grow kingdom based businesses. Any groups that you're kind of seeing on the horizon, seeing next, or think may hit in the future?
Yeah. Did you mention the fatherhood channel?
Yeah,
Cool. Fatherhood. I mean, we could go so many different avenues. It's
sure.
hard to see clearly, but yeah, potential for so many.
I think training will get nuanced shortly. Like I think as we flood more members in, I think we're gonna start to see like breakouts in different styles of training that may hit for small groups. Like I know you're talking about implementing an Elevate Run Club, creating a group around that.
Mm, yeah.
Like I think that we could see, stuff like that breaking out as we get different types of training from guys coming into the group. So I think
Yeah, I
that
can
that
see it.
one would be cool. But yeah, we'll see. It's just going to be something where what we're doing is as guys are joining, we're connecting with them, we're hearing their needs, and we're trying to meet them where they are as fast as we can. Within changes we make in the community, we're receiving feedback and trying to implement as fast as possible. So it's something where the guys who have been a part of Elevate, for since day one, they've seen it just completely change. It's
Yeah.
nothing compared to what it was on day one. There's been growth. Something new is getting added all the time as we grow, as we expand. Whether it's new gear, new channel, new event, new meetup, new challenge, whatever it is, like we're keeping it fresh. We're keeping it on fire. Um, and yeah, with the community, I'm excited to see how we manipulate thousands of people to maintain that intimacy.
100%. It'll be a challenge, but with God on our side, man, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, let's drop another layer down. I'm gonna go to something that's about to be new this week: regions.
Mm,
Before we get into events, I'll save that our in-person events for after this. But
yeah.
local meetups is, I guess, another way you could call it. But talk to us about that.
Yeah, for sure. This idea, was inspired earlier this year, just because we saw such impact in the in-person connections at our events, and we knew more in-person relationships needed to be made with these guys, um, and kind of the layer in between online and then going to a high ticket event would be, just in-person meetups, and how can we um, facilitate that and make it easier for the guys who are close to each other. So that's the idea for regions. And right now, just starting with sectioning off the U.S. into different regions and assigning region leaders in each of those, and then giving them the authority to go and facilitate in-person meetups with the guys who are inside of that region of the United States. Um, and so we're about to see a massive wave of one-on-one connections inside the community, in person, just all over the U.S. I see it, dude. It's going to be life changing. Whether it be
Absolutely.
just guys getting coffee with each other or hitting a trading session, whatever it may be. But yeah, I'm pumped for it.
Yeah. And honestly, man, I can't wait to. I mean, Colorado is such an epic place. Living out here, like there is opportunity for epic hikes and meetups to be done. So I'm excited to see what happens just out here in this area. And I think for me, like I vision one day, I want guys to be able to join wherever they're at in the world and
Mm,
have, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 20 Elevate members within a certain, mileage distance from them so that they can do these things, get coffee and have this in person connection, have in person Bible
100%.
studies. Like it's something where in person is everything. And we know that. Like we're not ignorant to that. We're not, we're building online right now, but we understand how important in person is. And that's why we're doubling down on it across the world right now. So I'm
Absolutely.
excited to see how that evolves and grows. I think it's going to be incredible to see. And shout out to Austin, man, the Minnesota crew. They got a strong crew, just waiting for a fat meetup. Austin's been building those relationships. Those guys have been buying in, and the Minnesota meetup is going to be that just region of the U.S. is going to be absolutely epic, and I know it's going to be the one to kick us off with how strong that group is. So
100%.
I can't wait to see how that one goes.
Absolutely, bro. It's gonna be life changing. What what's the next layer?
Got to be events off of that, in person events.
Yeah.
I think, man, I just think about the I don't know if this is a word, but epicness of these events and of the events that are to come. Like it's just something that it's honestly a blessing to even go to these events myself and be able to go to all of them, and a blessing to see these men come together for these in-person events, from doing epic things like backpacking here in a couple weeks, ripping UTVs out in the desert, snowboarding, whatever it might be, climbing mountains, like,
Yep.
or hosting a third annual event, which is crazy to just see how this thing's growing. We're just laying such a foundation, of this mission in these first couple of years, and it's so apparent to see. And I think a staple of that, a cornerstone of that, is seeing an event be hosted for the third annual time
For
in the
sure.
House of Steel and just grow and get better, every single year. And for those wondering, the House of Steel is actually an event we host at a gym near Cleveland, Ohio. One of our members got kicked out of the Air Force for not getting vaccinated, and he just had this mission on his heart that he wanted to open up a gym and create an in-person community for people to come and train hard, get better, and ultimately, his whole gym is founded on God as well, a godly man himself. So he got kicked out of the Air Force. We came together, hosted it, kind of somewhat of a grand opening event there. Got some Elevate guys flying in, which was Paden's first ever event he attended as a member, and then got some local guys there as well. We ended up raising a few grand for him, just to help get his business off the ground. But yeah, we'll be doing that for a third annual time. So it's really cool to see these events coming together and just see the annual things happening. We're about to do our second annual backpacking trip in a couple of weeks,
Hmm.
and I don't even know, man. It's just it takes me back to like something that I just know is going to be a core memory of my life. On my
Oh, bro,
deathbed is these annual trips.
for sure, for sure, dude. I love them so much because I mean, me personally, like I had a vision before I even got into business, and it was to just cultivate these epic experiences and take guys along. I had this vision of me leading a group of men up a mountain, um, backpacks on. Didn't know where it would be, when it would be, how it was going to get facilitated, um, and now to just have the vehicle to actually live that out, which is Elevate. Um, Man, it's beautiful, and it's just goes to show like just be patient and wait for God's timing on things. Um, but yeah, dude, the events are epic. Definitely, I would say top one or two features of the community, and just to like you mentioned, to see them just become even more epic. Each event, I freaking love it, man. We're gonna hike Mount Kilimanjaro here soon.
For sure. Yeah, I
So
think the international tour is inevitable. As we talked about with the apparel, just reaching different corners of the earth. These events are
yes,
going to start reaching different corners of the earth. We got to get over and see our European friends and beyond. Uh, as the base just builds over there, I can't wait to see what happens there. And I see events that are gathering, tens of thousands of guys. I see I see core members of this community from day one being up on stage, sharing their testimony, sharing how God has moved in their life. Specifically, top of mind, Austin's coming to mind of just sharing his
yep,
testimony. Him and I have talked about that. I'm like, dude, we got to share our testimony and our story as many times as we can right now because we need the reps for what's coming in the future. Because there's going to be events, there's going to be so much more to come where there's thousands and thousands of people and you have a microphone and a stage and a platform and it's going to be this perfect moment where you put in your 10,000 rep of telling your story in front of 10,000 people and it's just going to explode and it's
one
going to
hundred
bring so
percent.
many people to God. And yeah, I see that. And I see us taking this, online structure and moving it and applying it in person as well in this way from events coming together where we break into small groups and do things like that.
Absolutely.
So I think next thing I would want to talk about is vision for a seed that's being planted. It's kind of been planted. We're waiting for God to really water it and us to watch it grow. But I think
Mm,
mission trips, and just like mission work as a whole, like something we just witnessed last week, I believe, maybe 2 weeks ago, was pay a Bible forward. There's an action of
yep.
the week in the community where Paden dropped it and just challenged the community to, hey, if you know someone who could use the Word of God, go grab them a Bible and deliver it to them by hand, or send it to them, via Amazon or whatever it is. And Peyton put it out on his story, like anyone want a Bible. I think like 5 or 6 guys might have reached out. And then next thing you know, our community is coming together to just fund those Bibles.
For
It's
sure.
very easy to see, how that is going to just evolve and grow in the future to us just leveraging our network and our community to raise money to buy Bibles, to send guys overseas or wherever it might be on mission to go build houses or whatever it is for people in need. And I think it's something that you and I have talked about since like day one of just seeing, churches use resources to go paint that same church across the world, for the 10th year in a row. Like, no shame, no judgment towards anyone. I pray that they're doing God's work, but we want to go to some links and do some things that others aren't willing, just
For
by
sure.
in the name of living boldly in our faith. And I think that you got to experience that, down in Costa Rica with Todd, a member of our community down there, planting a church, doing his thing. So you could probably speak to this more than I could.
Yeah, dude, totally. I mean, just by you speaking on it from the different avenues, I mean, the Elevate Life Foundation, we've talked about it. I think that's going to be one of the elements to Elevate that will also expand outside of the community, that will impact lives outside of the community. 100%. Um, but yeah, going on that mission trip to visit one of our members, Todd Yancey, he's a pastor down in Costa Rica. It's honestly set a fire in my heart for this mission, for this kind of corner of Elevate. It's definitely going to happen. But it's been brought up to, I think, both of us several times now, and got on a call last week with one of our members named Steven. He was mentioning it. He was like, "Hey, dude, got this mission opportunity. We need to get some Elevate guys together. Go down there." Um, and we're kind of seeing that vision being pieced together. Elevate Life Foundation, mission trips, pay a Bible forward. God is slowly giving us the puzzle pieces for this, and it's going to be something huge. End of this year, definitely going into next year.
Yeah, and I love what you're saying. He's slowly piecing all this together. Like it is a patient day to day grind that you don't see until you're 2 years in and you look back and say, "Wow, look at all this growth," and then you're able to look forward. So again, for anybody who's listening to this who has some sort of cross to carry and they know it, has a vision, like you got to be patient in the day to day. You got to get into the word daily. You got to pray daily. You got to do the things that are hard in the details. You got to have faith in the little moments to have faith in these big moments, to see God move on these mission trips that are inevitable through Elevate. That only happens, if we double down on getting in the word daily, conditioning our heart daily, doing
Yep.
the work on ourselves every single day to then lead something like a mission trip down the road. So just want to plant that seed for anybody listening. Like God will move in big moments. I truly believe if you move in the little moments. um, so
100%.
mission trips foundation, kind of a nonprofit vision that will definitely come to life. I think the next thing is what we're going to do in person community, man. I think that
Yeah.
at the core, this has been something that's always been inevitable for us, is just what's going to happen in person. We've built this brand so far. We've built this foundation through building an online community, and obviously, we just talked about our vision for apparel for the online aspect. We don't see that going anywhere. It's all just going to be in alignment, vertically aligned, I guess you could say. Feed each other and grow each other. We're going to build upon everything that we're doing, but I think the biggest place we're going to have impact is in just cultivating in-person community. And of course, the local meetups, the events, the mission trips, all this plays a part of it. But I see something so much bigger for us. We always talk about getting the guys together, Austin moving, all of
Oh
us
yeah.
moving to one central location, and I think as of recent, like God's been definitely starting to just trickle these things into my life personally, starting to make some connections at church, starting to have some doors open locally. Been getting coffee with a few guys. I came out of Montana with the conviction on my heart that I need to start making some local connections, and just been doing that, and just been seeing doors open, and just the opportunity seems endless to what we could do in person. I truly believe that. So I think at the core, I don't know what you have to speak on that, but I think at the core, we are going to do amazing things in person locally.
Yeah. 100%. Definitely starting with one in person. I think a central hub is going to be sick, just to have a location for guys to come to. Whether that be hosting events, hosting retreats, guys to just come and just kind of be restored. A place where, you know, it's not like anything else in the world. It's similar to a church, where they can get their cup filled, where they can grow, they can be sharpened by other men. It's definitely going to be adamant as we continue to grow. And then also, we may have multiple in person locations in the future. I think that's definitely going to happen. Different central hubs throughout the world.
Yeah, 100%. And I've always said I want to create a place of solitude for guys to come to. Really not, it's going to expand more than just men, but for guys to come to and just detach and disconnect from this world and just connect with God, connect with what God has for them, connect with the vision God has for their life, and just leave that place of solitude feeling empowered to step into a bold faith in this world, go against this world, and live boldly
For
and
sure.
take action on a mission or whatever it is. And I see a space where I truly believe we're going to have just a in-person community, man, where we're just living off the land, training in a facility that we have, like a place where we're homeschooling, teaching our kids, like everyone just kind of coming together and getting back to our roots as people, as community, the roots of community that we saw before this world was so connected. And it's another reason I'm so bullish on community. I say this every chance I get, but just as we see social media grow and technology grow, we are getting more connected as a world. And that's such a double-edged sword. It's very good in the fact that we can connect with guys like Io in London right now. He can be a part of our community and help us to build and spread this mission in England. Guys like Jeremy in Australia, same deal. Like it's very good in that front, but when you are connected to 8 billion people, it's very hard to understand how you fit in, to that bigger picture as a whole. And I think that that's where purpose and fulfillment comes from, is understanding how you as an individual fit into a larger picture, how you're serving a bigger picture, how you're serving a mission that's greater than yourself. I think we all need
Absolutely.
that. We all need something that's greater than ourselves. And I think at the core, that's truly what Christianity is. It's founded on fellowship, on relationship. And you can look back to before technology and you can see these communities where people came together. Someone was the teacher, someone was the farmer, someone was the blacksmith.
Yep.
We'd be trading our crops for you to teach my kids math or whatever it is. And I feel this great sense of purpose, because not only am I providing my local community with food, I'm also doing it in a way that's educating my children, for an example. Like,
For sure.
you feel that direct fulfillment. It's tangible. It's like right in front of you because
Yeah.
of how you fit into the community around you. And I think you can even see it, if you look at the blue zones, they call them, the places where people live to over 100. People go and they study these communities. They try to figure out, why are these people the way that they are? Is it their diet? Is it their exercise? Like what is it? And they all have different diets. You can look at the
Yeah.
blue zones; they have different diets. So it's like, okay, it's not the way they eat. It's not the way they physically carry themselves, which most of them are outside all day. But I genuinely believe it's because they have less technology and they are more connected in community.
Mm. Yeah, dude. Relationships, community, it truly is everything. Um, One thing that stuck out to me when you were talking is like being connected with just the 8 billion other people in the world through social media. It can be like super unhealthy. Um, just what was sticking out to me is like God created you in his image in such a unique way. Like you're going to be different than anybody else in the world. And the enemy wants to isolate you, and the enemy wants to make you feel different in a bad way.
Mm,
And I know for me personally, I think we've all done this. Is like we've tried to fit in with the rest of the world just for the sake of security and just uh, trying to feel loved. But in reality, he made us unique in our own way to fit in with the church and you know do our part in our unique way to further the mission in our in-person communities, in person, in Elevate, whatever that looks like. So yeah, the community is everything, and just lean into those strengths with whatever community you're in, whether it be a church or somewhere community to Elevate, whatever that looks like.
yeah, and not only do I think the enemy wants to isolate you, like you're saying, within your uniqueness. I often say, like, the devil is quicker to our strengths than God is, because
Mm,
I think the devil will get to your strengths before you know God and use them for so much bad that you
yep.
have to unlearn and learn how to use them for good. And I think that what you're saying, like our uniqueness, the devil will isolate, make us feel out of place. But this world's got a place for you every corner you look. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's an identity group you can identify with at every turn that
For
is
sure.
not God, that is against God. So yeah, it's something where I think again, we can see how the enemy is trying to use all this for bad. You can see the contrast of what God does for good and how the enemy uses this world for bad. It's very easy to see that contrast in this world. And as we know, whatever the devil has intended for bad, God can use for good. And I think that that's the testimonies we have. You know,
Amen.
that is the stories that we have, and that's why we have to live boldly and share those stories and be that light for someone else, is because we have all been there. We have all used our strengths for bad. We have all identified with that wrong group that's against God. Like, but the only way we're going to help others come to Christ is through sharing that transformation that he has done within us.
Amen, brother. Love what you're saying.
Yeah, and I only feel like we can be empowered to do that, if we're surrounded by others who are doing that. It's going to expedite the process. You're going to be on 10, ready to share. So
100%.
overall, Elevate is going to the moon. I think we know that. I think God has that in His plans for this mission, because well, at the end of the day, the reason I can say that with confidence is because that's God's objective: connect people in community and grow people. Reach people where they are and connect people with Him. Like, that's what God is calling us to do. That's why I can believe in this mission with so much conviction, is because it's in alignment with God
For sure.
through and through. So, yeah, I think I'm bullish on it. I know you're bullish on it. I know everybody who's bought into the mission inside Elevate is bullish on it. And it's funny because it feels like we're ready to go to war at any second, man. We're going to war daily against the enemy, and we got a hell of an army, man.
Absolutely. It's a good time.
So it's only growing, but I think it's a good place to wrap it up, man. I don't have much else to dive into. You got anything else you want to share in the way of our mission?
No, I don't think so. Except for anyone listening, join us, man. Try it out. $1 a day every month. That's it.
That easy, that cheap. So, yeah, join us and come. Be empowered to carry your own cross. That's our objective at the end of the day. So, we hope to build you up in every way that we can, from every angle that we can, to just see you go live out whatever God's put on your heart. So, hope that you can get behind that and join us. But appreciate you listening. This is Raw Faith, where we jump on here and get raw around our faith and what we're doing and carrying our cross. We got various types of episodes within that. This is just a standard kind of long form episode with myself and Paden. You're gonna see another one that him and I do called Deep Questions, which I think is probably my favorite one. It's a ton of fun, where we just bring three anonymous questions to the table to ask each other. We're going to see some episodes called Light, Lite, where I just jump on by myself and record something that's bite sized, 5 to 10 minutes, just to encourage you in your faith or give you some sort of piece of growth that I've learned. Um, and then you're going to see some guests on here as well. Sometimes you'll see Paden and Austin, different guys. At the end of the day, we're just trying to help you guys grow your faith and carry your cross. That's it. So appreciate you guys listening, and we'll see you guys in the next one.